information. Click.
Need mics. We are live.
Hey, you're looking particularly snazzy today, Mike.
We are live. I'm going to flip over and I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure mixer sounds correct. If I have to refresh it to update it. It looks like my frames are going pretty slow. I'm going to flip over and I'm just going to do a quick it looks fine now. Check to make sure mixer sounds correct. I have to refresh it though. All right, and then we'll go ahead and get this party started. You guys ready to get the party started?
Let's get it started. Let's see. I am ready, Steven.
You are ready?
I am ready to go.
Ready to
Do I
get
look
the party
ready to go?
started?
Feel
Yeah,
ready
you
to
look,
go.
you look.
I feel
you look
pretty good.
Dressed to impress. I am going to get a couple seconds of silence, and then I will play the intro.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm going to get a couple seconds of silence, and then I'm going to play the intro.
This is the sound of silence.
So I'm going to play a couple seconds of silence.
Welcome to the weekly episode of Freelancer Codex podcast. Host and co-host. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins and let's drop in.
Whoa, you guys simmer down over there.
Intro
Welcome,
animation.
freelancers. Welcome to episode 74 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet. And it's, I was looking at a bunch of iTunes reviews that we had previously, and a couple of them said from like a year ago. And when you kind of put it in perspective that we've been doing this show for that long, and tomorrow is the official I'm going to air quotes day one release of Anthem. Because I feel like, we three of us have been playing the game for about a week now because we had Origin Access Premiere. So we got access to that. So I thought that was like the official release of the game, and they were just giving, the premium subscribers their early week. But it seems like it was maybe day -7. Is that how it felt to you guys, that our Origin Access Premiere was kind of day -7 and not really day one?
Tell us what you mean there, Steve.
No, I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what you mean. First of all, I'm going to introduce our host. I'm your host, Steve, along with my three co-hosts, my three fantastic freelancers, the Freelancer 3, Devon, JD, and Mike. And I'm grateful for you guys to be here. We have a lot to talk about today.
It's on the Interceptor.
You get the Interceptor. JD, have you figured out what javelin you're going to go with now that you've got 10 hours in?
I've been basically playing Storm the entire time.
Oh. 2 storms on the team, huh?
Yeah,
it's a fun one to play.
We know how that goes. We know how that goes.
So before we jump in,
the Colossus that I would try later.
Before we jump into all this information, I want to know how much time you guys have actually spent in the Forge personalizing your javelin. I know, JD, you have precious, only 10 hours. So how much time have you actually spent in there, personalizing that thing?
I'm sure it's gone a little bit beyond this, just with, updating the loadout here and there. But I would say I've only maybe spent like a cumulative 15-20 minutes in there so far. I try to remember all my customization choices from the VIP and public demo. So as soon as I was able to just load in, I grabbed my Storm. I just change the colors, change materials, get it to as close as what I had as possible, and didn't waste much time.
Very cool. You have precious little time, so optimizing that time. Mike, how much time have you spent in the Forge?
Not a ton. An hour maybe. All if you put it all together. My kiddos actually like to jump in and play with colors. They've all claimed their own javelin that they get to customize, so I let them do that. I play in there a little bit, but not a ton.
Very nice. Devon?
For me, it's about an hour. My son does the same thing. We went through and created his own javelins because he likes to just cruise around and free play. And he maybe has played an hour for the whole week that I let him play. It's like, all right, you can have 15 minutes, right? But
but I want it. But I want it back, son.
Yeah.
8-year-old son.
He's only 6. I'm like, get out of the way. Fine.
I'm surprised you guys haven't spent much more time than that in there. I figured you guys would have dove in and just,
There's reasons behind that. I don't know if we want to get into that now.
We can get into it now. I mean, we're talking
there's
about
there's nothing
Forge.
there. Like compared to the stuff that we had access to in the demo, we have an inkling of what is there. And it's frustrating because we saw that stuff in the demo, and then I'm like, okay, let's just go to the cosmetic store. I've got all this coin. Let's buy some stuff. And there's 6 things in the cosmetic store, and none of them are. It's not good. And the state of the customization of the vanity store is not good, from my point of view and my perspective. So,
I think for sure I was definitely expecting more right out the gate, and they didn't really explain it. They're like, oh well, we have it tied to a feature, but I don't think they really explained the feature yesterday on the live stream. So we'll have to talk to Ben about that. Maybe get some more details. But it sounded like he said like every 2 to 4 days, I think that the featured stuff is going to change. And but I mean, I've purchased everything that's in there to use, and for me, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. I'll make a few things. I'll wait, until they give me more stuff to do. But really, I just like messing around with a couple of the colors that I like, and then I'll change the armor maybe once or twice. I think I've changed it. Well, I've changed it 3 times. My interceptor. When I was doing the other day, I spent more time in there because I was just leveling up all the other javelins. So
yeah,
it was actually kind of refreshing after about 50 hours of all interceptor to play. Okay, let me do with the ranger again. Then I'll start with the storm, and then go with the colossus. And so it was kind of fun seeing that. Okay, I had all these gear pieces, and they were almost they were like 380 or whatever, most of them.
Nice.
With all the other gear pieces, but it was fun just messing around with the cosmetics, putting those on, seeing what I like on there, and
you, Devon, were probably able to purchase a lot of the cosmetics that were actually available because you got a bug that gave you 4 times the amount of coin that you're supposed to start with. So,
the store stuff, I didn't purchase any of the feature stuff from the store with coin because I purchased the stuff that you could buy from the Forge when you're in there. There's a couple things in there like animations and those things that I bought with coin, but everything else I bought with premium currency, the shards, because I wanted to support the game. So I purchased the largest sum of shards you could get and use that to buy stuff. And so it was good. I mean, it's not bad. So
right. No, it's not bad. I think the main issue I have with the cosmetic store right now, it's not very clear on what is where. I mean, you can go to the Forge and you're able to purchase a couple things, but then those things aren't in the cosmetic store. And the stuff in the cosmetic store, when we first were able to log on and play the game, had a 10-day rotation, which is ridiculous if you're trying to sell us, stuff. And like JD pointed out later, like if you don't have, well, I don't know if it's a bug or not. If you are not on at that time or aren't able to purchase those things, are you just going to have to wait till it rolls around again?
Yeah.
And if they have, a ton of cosmetics, like how long do you have to wait for that thing to come around? Not to mention they're only featuring 2 javelins at each changeover. It looks like currently.
2 javelins.
So I mean, it's a frustration.
I honestly think that a better alternative to the way how BioWare is currently doing things with the store and Anthem is basically have all options available at all times, and that whatever is featured is on sale. Because all things that because I get that BioWare is is trying to incentivize people to keep logging in and to keep coming back on certain days, but like Steve said, as someone who has been either short on time or money in the past, it annoys me when I have to wait for something to reappear, especially if I couldn't afford it before. Okay, I don't if it's only switching out every 2 to 4 days and I don't have enough for a full set of it, but I don't have the time to grind out the coin. Or maybe towards the end of the month where I've already paid my rent, I've already paid my bills, I've already paid everything I need to pay. But the whole thing is that I don't feel safe, cutting in $40 or $20 or even just an extra $10 sometimes, when that could mean okay, well, then I don't have as much money for groceries or something else like that. Like it should just be available at all times, especially if, like, with as many customizations options as they have. It feels like they're purposely limiting it because they're trying to cheat you into coming back and buying things on their terms as opposed to the customer's terms, the consumer's terms.
Yeah, and I think as feedback to the system, because we don't want to, you know, just trash on the system and not give any ideas. It would be really nice if everything was available, like JD said, that you can go in and you can buy everything for however much that costs. Whatever that price they set, you can go in anytime and you can purchase that gear. Like the featured page, it would be awesome if those were actually discounted items.
Yeah.
That, you know what? Go to the featured page, get your discounted items for, hey, maybe this armor set that I've been waiting to get, maybe it's discounted this time. If it's not, you know, I still have the option to buy it at full price if that's something that I want to do. But not having that option at all, like I've put a bunch of time into the game and I still look exactly the same as I did from when I first began the game. And it's only been a week, but when you go from level 0 to 30 and you're in the exact same armor that you started with, it's just not a good system. And I guess I assumed from the beginning that cosmetics would also be dropping from the world or from bosses. And that's not true currently. I mean, that's going to change with the addition of their cosmetic with the stronghold boxes, but we can talk about that later. But anyway, it's a weird system. I hope they listen to a lot of the feedback that a lot of people have been submitting. This isn't just a Freelancer Codex thing. I mean, this is feedback that tons of people have been giving out. I mean, day one, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see, okay, how cool is my storm going to look? And when I saw that, it's like, oh, it's
and how
exactly
different
like the storm.
How different can I look from everybody else that I'm playing with?
And for that first week,
it's an important piece.
Look different. It is an important piece.
It's an important piece of it, and a store should function like a store. It should, if it's there, if it's in game, it ought to be in the game. And
that's EA. If it's in the game, it's in the game. But here, it's not in the game. All right. So real quick on my
too bad. All right, because for me personally, because if it was all there, then I'd have to buy it all, and because I have problems buying stuff
because you have no self-control.
Well, for certain things, all right, I have no self-control, but so no, it definitely needs to be adjusted, and they have multiple stores in the game, but all the stores sell the same stuff, so I hope spoiler alert, I hope they fix that. So.
Right, because they're all linked together. They're all windows to the same screen, which seems very odd to me. Yeah. But anyway, I would like, opening statements aside, I would like to talk about the state of the game, like the weekly release. And right now we're hearing about a lot of the reviews that are coming out from major outlets. Like right now, I think Metacritic average is around 70. I know PC Gamer gave the game like a 55. That was their review. A lot of other people are pretty low 60s.
Played more than 25 hours.
No, but so Game Informer, I was listening to the Game Informer podcast this morning. They were talking about Anthem, and they even said, it's like, you know what? The day one patch comes out tomorrow. How can we review this thing without having access to that stuff? And one of the things
shouldn't be. It's early access. It's not a review time.
Well, I don't think they ever marketed it as early access, right? Unless I just completely missed the boat on what we were paying into as part of the premium service. I mean,
from what I know, they just said, use Origin Access Premier, pre-order through Origin to play the game early. I think play the game early was the word that they use, or the wording that they use.
So I can speak to this because I've been a subscriber to EA Access and other things since it came out, right? So they've always had a week early access, and that has come out even before. If you have day one patches, those patches aren't there. It's been in multiple games, so it's not anything new for me. I guess maybe for people who haven't experienced it, it's not new for me. This is how it's been. You get a week early access, and it's early access. You don't have the full. Sometimes not all the features are live and everything else. You get that week of time to play the game early. Like we had Battlefield 1, not everything was there. They had a patch day one. And Battlefield 5 that just came out last year, and same thing for other games. So it's nothing new. And I guess for people who haven't experienced it, it's like you guys, it was something surprising. But for me, I guess I should have said something about it, but I just was like, no, this is how it is. It's been this way for a long time. It's early access.
I've experienced 10-hour trials for Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect Andromeda, and I think Dragon Age Origins was the only time that their 10-hour trial, at least in regards to a BioWare game, didn't backfire in some way, because the whole like the hatred and criticism of Mass Effect Andromeda started the moment the people had early access to the game with the 10-hour trial. And the whole thing is that they had a day one patch plan to fix some of the problems.
Yep.
But by then, they had an entire week before the game's release for all the memes to pop up, all the criticisms to pop up. And so you had a week of this, like, just wrecking ball of toxicity, just ready to go. And then day one finally comes around. And by that time, the wrecking ball already has enough momentum to smash any kind of good reputation it might have. And I feel like the same thing has happened with Anthem, because they just had to get that early access like incentive in there. And I don't think it worked for them this time.
Well, and I think that trying to get people into Origin Access Premier, I mean, that's an EA thing, and I think they need to stop it, honestly, because it's not helping their games get reviewed, because people are basing their reviews off of that first week of access, and there were so many bugs that, you know, some of the bugs stop people from actually being able to progress in the game. Everyone keeps talking about the Tomb Challenge where people hit a block early on. I mean, that wasn't a block that I hit personally, but I'm not going to discount anyone's experiences, because I mean, it happened to them. It sucks that it happened to them. I'm glad it didn't happen to me. It does, you know, so my experience is different from a lot of people that actually got to play the game early, because when we played those first several missions over and over again, because friends were jumping on at different times. So we ran them over and over again. So we were able to get a lot of those challenges done without hitting that block. And we also weren't just trying to mainline crit path. And I think when you're doing a review, that's kind of what you have to do to get the story in, so that you can actually talk about the story. So I don't think that, I mean, really, they should stop doing these early access things. It's just going to hurt the reviews. I mean, you look at Apex, that dropped.
I agree.
And you know what? That was the game. It helped that the game was built really well and it worked and it didn't have server issues. But you know what? This is the game. This is it. Take it for what it is. Now we have this day one patch that is hopefully going to fix a lot of issues. It also has created other issues. But you know, I don't think it did anything to help the game. I think the early access, as much as we enjoyed it, I mean, I had very few technical issues other than it, you know, my GPU dying, which sucks. But luckily I had a backup.
That had nothing to do with the game, by the way.
Right. It had nothing to do with the game. And there are still a lot of bugs. And I hope that people still give the game a chance. We look at Destiny 1, Destiny 2, Division, No Man's Sky, Sea of Thieves. These are all games that live on a live service that, you know what? None of them came out early, or none of them came out and were firing on all cylinders at launch. And I don't want to make that sound like that's an excuse for Anthem, that, you know what, these games are just going to come broken and you have to live with it. Because I don't think that's a good excuse to release in the way that they did. But if you give these games time, you know, and BioWare has especially shown during this development that they're open and they are willing to listen and they're willing to make changes. You know, they changed the cosmetic thing from 10 days down to 4. I mean, they listen. They've made a ton of changes that, you know, we ourselves have complained about. The tethering is a huge issue, and they've made adjustments to that. So there's things that they're doing that they're willing to change. I mean, it sucks for people that had the issues. I get it. But if we give them time to make the changes, I think the game can be a great game. I mean, minute-to-minute gameplay, I really enjoy. The combat, the flying around, I really like that stuff. I mean, there's other things that I don't like. But, you know, it sucks that it's going to review bad, because it is right now. And that's just, you know, they had that week and it wasn't a great week, and it's going to review bad. And, you know, it's probably going to affect bonuses or whatever, however those deals work out. But I'm willing to give the game time. I really enjoyed the time we spent playing together, you know, playing as a squad with the two of us, Devon and Mike, and then always having a friend in there. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the game very much.
Not to mention, like, BioWare is already on top of a lot of the criticism. Like, the day one patch is going to address her. Has it already dropped? I know
dropped
my
yesterday.
copy. Okay, because my content of my copy of Anthem updated, and I wasn't sure if that was it. But anyways, like, somebody in the subreddit posted up something about like how they requested multiple models or multiple angles for some of the models in the store, and within hours, BioWare had like taken that feedback into consideration and changed the images in the store to reflect that. Now that's a small thing, but like they've said before in previous interviews, that the way how they designed the systems for Anthem is that they can basically just flip switches instead of putting out big old patches and things like that, which it doesn't really help that they just put out a big old patch, but they can just apparently flip switches. We've had an entire like transparent marketing campaign, with the exception of the microtransaction thing, which still bothers me, but at least it ended up being reasonable to a pretty good extent. But I mean, they are more communicative or more communicative than other developers in similar situations have been. Like Bungie, in response to stuff in Destiny and Destiny 2, they've always been a bit cheeky and unresponsive. And then the less we say about Bethesda and Fallout 76, the better. But like BioWare's on top of the communication part right now. They are responding to feedback as fast as they can, and they've already implemented some of it. So it can only get better, right?
Yeah, we hope so. And before we go on to Mike and Devon's views here, let's just real quick, I would like to say thanks to everyone that gave us reviews on iTunes. So we had a bunch of new 5-star reviews. Thanks to offset all those people that gave us 5-star reviews because you don't like fun. So we had DD.
You mean to offset the people who gave us 1-star reviews?
Right, what'd I say?
5 stars.
So,
but it's okay. We're good. We're good.
So
man.
DD Mitty says, well, the podcast isn't spectacular or even good for that matter, but they asked for a 5-star review and that doesn't cost me anything. So here's your 5-star review, guys. You asked for it and I delivered. And why does that one guy pronounce Deckle that way? Come on, man. So Mike, do you want to explain why you pronounce it Deckle? To DD Mitty here?
Isn't that what they are? They're Deckles, right?
Okay, fair enough. And that's all they need. So they're Deckles.
So this is, and I'm pretty sure he knows why. Just by reading the review, because I mean, I think it was meant. I hope it was meant to be a very tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, and not. Hopefully, he didn't mean all that.
Probably doesn't understand.
That he said. He didn't mean all that mean stuff that he said. But again, Deckle is an inside joke with Mike Gamble, because that's how he pronounced Deckles. And so that's why we pronounce Deckles.
Decals, Deckles, Canadian.
Yeah, because it's fun.
American.
It's just fun to say. It's
Deckles.
fun to say, and we like Mike here at the Freelancer Codex because
you can basically customize with Deckles.
Yeah,
that was Mike. So
that was Mike, and there it is. And that was. And how long ago was that? That was what, 6 months ago?
Oh, that must have been a long time ago.
That.
It was more than.
It was a little bit after E3 this year.
Yeah,
before E3.
So.
So
that's where that comes from. That's why we say Deckles, because Mike says Deckles. So
right. So everyone, you can also send in reviews, give us 5-star reviews, bump us up in those charts. You can also leave a voicemail at 505-386-7917. All those rates apply. And then if you want to reach out to us and you have any comments or questions about the show, you can email us at freelancercodex@gmail.com, and that is free. So Devon, I want to get your initial impressions. You have spent almost 1 billion hours in the game. So hit us up, man. Like, give us your impressions of the game. What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling like I should be playing right now. No, I really. I mean, so.
But you're not kidding. But you're not kidding, are you?
No, I'm not. But so I've put 65 plus hours in since last Friday, and I've been having a great time. How?
I don't know if you know Devon, JD.
Where do you find it? I mean, look, I've heard the legends. It's different to witness them.
Yeah, it's true.
So like Friday night, I slept maybe 5 hours. Saturday night 5 hours. Sunday night 5 hours, and I was up till midnight, 2 a.m. every night playing. And
it's because the game is bad and broken, and it's gonna fail, right? That you spent all that time.
Because I had a great time. I mean, yes, there are technical issues, but I went into the early access knowing there was technical issues, knowing they'd already said, hey, there's a day one patch that won't be out on the 15th, so you're an idiot if you review it under this stuff. So that's my opinion, and you can take it and shove it.
And you're getting a check from BioWare from saying this.
No, it's like, it's common sense. I don't know, some of these media are really stupid. if they're like, oh, I'm going to review it off an early access game that's not got the day one patch that fixes a lot of the issues that the developers have already told us it fixes, but here I'm going to spend all this time and complain about it, and knowing that the patch that fixes these things comes, before the game actually launches,
and that's even more weird because you have outlets like IGN that waited months to review PUBG while it was in early access.
Yeah, and they're
anyway,
just stupid.
I don't want to derail you. You continue. You keep going.
But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I played with friends who ran into the tomb bugs, but there was workarounds for that. Not very fun workarounds, but they had to either replay them or just continue on and not be able to play that. They did do a hot fix for that on the servers, which fixed it like a day before the actual patch came out. So that was updated, and it's good to see that they can hot fix stuff on the servers, and they can respond to issues and be able to fix those things. There was, technical issues aside, it's the most fun I've had in a really long time. And, there'd be times where I'd lose sound and stuff, and the sound issue is definitely a difficult one, and they're working on it. I haven't had any issues since the patch, but even still, there was times when we were playing like 2 days ago when I would forget there was no sound. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to change my sound to go back out and come back in so the sound's back again. But it's a lot of fun. I didn't finish the crit path till Monday because I was doing free play, strongholds, redoing missions, doing contracts, just all kinds of stuff because everybody that jumps on, it's like, well, let's go play what they're doing, and go have a good time with them. And the game is definitely a lot funner when you're playing with friends, but it's not bad when I'm by myself going to do free play, or I haven't had any horrible experiences with strongholds playing by myself. Harder difficulties. Go ahead.
I think one of the best things that they did in the game is that even though you're level 30 playing with a bunch of people that are just getting on, you're still getting stuff for your javelin at your level.
Yep. Yeah.
And that makes it huge, or else you wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it's really good, and I'm pushing above 470 now for my power level, and that grind, the grind or the chase, I should say. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely, I have way more weapons than I do gear pieces for Masterworks, and that can be frustrating because it's like, oh, let me see what I'm gonna get, and especially I completed stuff on Grandmaster 2 today, and I didn't get any Masterworks or Legendaries, which is supposed to be a lot higher increase on that, and it's kind of frustrating sometimes for that. So right now, Grandmaster 1 for me is like perfect. There's enough difficulty where I still have to pay attention all the time and I have to worry about getting downed by the enemies. And it's still rewarding enough that, you can still get Masterworks. I've gotten a legendary from just a random chest. That was even after they had patched the chest thing that people were basically just milking to try and get legendaries. And yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that they're doing, like JD has said, and they're really open and talking about everything they're going to do. I'm excited for the roadmap they're going to come out with next week, the 90-day roadmap. And I mean, I was playing as soon as I got home from work today. Any chance I can get. I was tempted for a second to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and play with Steven, but decided no, I'm really tired, and I'll go back.
It's understandable. That's when I do all my gaming in the morning. So it's very early, especially if you only had like 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So Mike, give us your overall impressions. You've probably been playing not quite as much as Devon, but pretty close to as much as Devon.
59 hours. I've been on 59 hours. Yeah.
And the game is terrible.
No, it's not. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to continue to play. It'll be my game of choice for the next little bit. I've encountered some funny bugs. There's some things that are funny. I just sent a few pictures to the guys about the stuff that I had. I was in the Forge one time and my javelin showed up without a head. That was funny.
That's awkward.
It was. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's a funny picture though. I don't think I'm neither here nor there. I enjoy what it is. The bugs I can work with. If I need to log out and get my sound back, I'll log out and get my sound back, because obviously that's something they're going to fix. I have issues with the Cosmetic Store because I think a store should function as a store, and that stuff should be there day one. Some of the quality of life stuff that they're implementing, I think, is good and valuable. It's fun. It's fun to shoot. It's fun to play with my buddies and blow stuff up and combo and all those numbers floating around. It's fun to be a tactician and figure out the ins and outs of strongholds with, on the different hard levels, the different difficulty levels. That was a bad. I speak English. So that, I mean,
you can do it, Mike. You can do it. We're here for you.
It's fun to do. It's fun to get with your friends. It'd be nice if they could all be on consistently, because it just builds that.
You keep throwing that at me, and
I'm not talking about you. I have more friends than you.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Yeah, he plays with me. Right?
There are 8 friends on my friends list. Thank you. I'm pretty sure 7 of them are bots. I think Devon's my only friend, actually. It's fun. People who hate on the game are going to hate on it no matter what. But that's not to say that's not to say that I think that everything that they do is great. There's definitely things that can be fixed. Loot needs to drop in different ways. Whites and blues need to stop dropping after a certain power level, even after a certain pilot level, because that stuff is just not necessary. And
I mean, the materials are necessary. I mean, you have to have a way to get crafting.
You're absolutely right. So then just drop them as embers. Yeah, you just drop them as embers. You need
ranger parts, and you need.
Yeah, so that's the one thing about.
But again, those can be found in the world also.
They can, but it's also good to still get them.
You're absolutely right. It's just frustrating, I think, when you're doing a Grandmaster 1 world event and out of the chest a white pops out.
Yep, and nothing else.
Nothing else. So stuff like that shouldn't happen.
I know,
the
but
story. I'm still talking.
Okay, I let you finish.
The story is great. I enjoyed it. It was fun. There were memorable characters.
Very good.
There were characters that I don't remember, and don't care to remember, which is fine because you can't like everybody.
It's like life.
It is like
That's
life.
true.
Like there's this person at work that I don't even know their first name.
That's really weird.
You're still cutting me off. I'll stop then. You have something to say.
I was just waiting for you to I was just following you for a while. You're
I'm done.
Free play. So that timer started. You're like, catch up with Mike. You have 25 seconds to catch up with Mike. So one of the things that and we'll talk about that. But one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, what really surprised you about the game that you weren't expecting to like? For example, for me, it was a lot of the character interaction. So I know everyone, I've played Mass Effect Andromeda, and I know everyone's like, oh, they don't have romances. It's not going to be the same as BioWare. It's it felt pretty BioWare to me, without, being able to sleep with aliens. I mean, it felt like BioWare interaction. I might be wrong, and JD can correct me. But talking with Owen and Halleck and all these other people, I mean, there's a couple people that the game isn't out yet, so I'm not going to spoil who they are or what the storylines are. I was really interested in following the dialogue and, what that next decision was going to be. Because a lot of these things do change interactions in Fort Tarsis. I mean, I don't think they're super, you're not going to say, oh, this whole section of Fort Tarsis is now a different color because of your interactions. But I think they're very minute, subtle changes. Because I don't think they should start out with the, big giant changes right off the bat. I mean, there's a long lead up that this game's going to have long legs. We don't need to start changing everything right away. And I enjoyed those interactions.
Yeah.
You guys keep talking. I'm going to be right back in a second. My heater's going to kick on. It's going to sound like a jet engine in my house.
So Rusty had a good point here in the chat. He says the materials could be used for those who haven't played another Javelin. Right, so you can use those other materials from the lower stuff, which is true. You can use those on the other Javelins as you level them up. That's a good point.
On the topic of character interactions and more specifically their voice actors, I did have a small concern about that, considering just how star-studded the cast actually is. They have a lot of I know it's not big movie actors or anything like that, but Max, the owner of the bar, is played by Catherine Tate from Doctor Who fame. You know, Donna from Doctor Who. That's the owner of the bar. Amal is played by Jack McBrayer, who's I think Ken in 30 Rock.
You mean Fix It Felix?
Yeah, Fix It Felix.
He's
You got we've got Vic Sahay as Matthias. We got Joe Latrulio or Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in there. We got Kristen Shaw as and I forget her character's name. My only concern with all of these big names is kind of some of the stuff that we ended up seeing with Destiny was, you know, like when they got Peter Dinklage and then eventually Nathan Fillion, where basically they have all these celebrities voicing the role instead of just really dedicated like video game voice actors. Yeah, and are they going to come back? Because like you guys were saying, this game has long legs. They're going to be adding things to the game over time, probably more story content, and I cannot imagine that they're going to get half of these people back for future DLC or future story content. I think the only person, just based off of his sheer enthusiasm, it's just the track record with BioWare and voice actors returning for DLC. You know, even just some of the video game voice actors that they had before, like Mass Effect and Dragon Age Inquisition, that only changed recently. But none of those guys were as big as somebody like Jack McBrayer, who is he has a pretty good career. Kristen Shaw is just doing voice work out the wazoo and live action roles. So,
I mean, and I think these guys, they've probably recorded, voice lines to cover upcoming updates. They probably didn't just do the game and then they're like, all right, we'll call you back in a month. I'm guessing they had them in. The story has been written. I mean, we know that we have a roadmap that's going to come out in March. We're going to see the 90 days. So, that stuff's going to have this content that's already done. I mean, I'm guessing they've been working for a really long time on this stuff. I know, Jay Wadamaniuk, that dude, works a ton. He's been writing a ton of this dialogue with our writing team, and they're there at the office all the time. So I'm guessing...
How many people?
Teams of people, teams. So I'm excited that... I mean, the only issue that I have with the dialogue is that when you finish a dialogue chain, I would like for there to be some sort of reward. And I'm not saying that, we need to be rewarded for everything that happens in the game. But when you go on that long journey with someone and you get to the end of it, you kind of want to feel look, I took this path with this person and I got this cosmetic item. What did you get? Or, hey, where did you get that? Oh, if you talk to Halleck like this, for me, I'm a jerk to Tassin every time, no matter what. I choose whatever the jerk response is to Tassin, and that's what I choose, just because I don't like Tassin. But it'd be cool if you got something for doing that. That would actually, you could see it. It'd be different in the launch bay that I only went to one time. That you can say hey, where did you get this piece? Where did you get this cosmetic? And you're oh, if you're a jerk to Tassin, you can get it. And and that's what would make it different from everyone else. Not just I finished that, or I haven't had a conversation with you guys about hey, what did you think about this interaction with this character? I went this way. We just haven't had those moments yet, and it's still early in the game, and a lot of the focus is getting out there and playing the game and grinding, which also has a weird dichotomy. But we can talk about that later. Mike, did you have a one thing that really surprised you about the game that you weren't expecting? Without spoiling, story for everyone that's going to play the game for the first time.
Of course, no spoilers. I don't think I was expecting anything, so I don't think anything was surprising. It's just been super fun, and I've enjoyed the crud out of it, and I'm looking forward to playing some more. I don't have anything other to say than it's a super fun game, and I think more people need to get on it and try it out and play it the way it's supposed to be played, and not have your storm on the ground shooting things. It's weird.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. A lot of people.
It's not Destiny, Dado.
Exactly. But I've enjoyed it. I don't think I've been surprised by anything because I didn't go in with any expectations. I've been entertained. I've put in quite a few hours into it already, and will continue to do so. And it's just fun to play, and I look forward to playing with everybody out there. So
very cool. Devon, you had surprising stuff.
No, not really.
No.
I think I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the story. I mean, since I've never really fully completed a BioWare game, and I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed talking to the other NPCs. They made me laugh, and I wouldn't say any of it made me cry.
Oh, you were bawling, you bunch of wham-whams.
That was a secret between the two of us, all right? Honestly. We weren't supposed to say anything. Now everybody knows.
Now everybody knows that you cry when you stepped on your first rabbit.
Now I just murdered them.
I know there's been a lot of feedback saying that the dialogue is like pretty cheesy. Like I guess,
enjoy it.
I mean, there are some lines that are kind of cringy, but I don't feel like it's like way out of left field that, oh man, this writing is so bad. Like I haven't felt that or seen that. Like, I mean, I played Borderlands 2. I mean, if people can say Borderlands 2 writing is awesome and then say this is cringy, I don't know what you're smoking. Like
I mean, like I just like I know that people say that like that was one of the biggest criticisms about Mass Effect Andromeda as well, especially one character in particular. But like it didn't bother me as much because like the main character and even the character in question in Andromeda, like they're not geniuses. They're not particularly clever people. Like one-liners aren't really their thing. Like that being said, that agony line probably, like, I know that made some, like, that upset some people, but that might have been the funniest comeback I've heard in a game in a while. Like, it's like, we will bring you pain and agony. It's like, oh yeah, agony is gonna be this. I can't repeat it on the podcast because they got swears in them, but yeah, like it was.
I enjoyed all the little dialogue and everything that I keep talking to him. You know, it makes me smile, and it's fun.
I mean, I think it's really easy to nitpick something when, I mean, tons of people want this game to be amazing. Right. So when it doesn't live up to that expectation, it's easy to find things to nitpick just to kind of justify like why you're not having fun. And I mean, there's a little bit of bandwagoning happening. I'm not going to say there's not. And like we've said before, I mean, criticism was warranted, and we'll talk about where we think they need to be made. Changes need to be made, but I had fun with the dialogue. I didn't mind it so much. So, all right. So let's talk about the changes that we want to make. Or do you guys want to dive into the patch notes first, because this will cover a lot of that stuff? Should we do that?
Lots of patch notes. Lots of patch notes out. I know it's tough.
Mike's fourth language.
So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's been covered here. So high level fixes, decreased loading times for older disk drives. I mean, everybody wants decreased loading times, right? You want to be in the game as fast as you can. Devon wants to be in the game so fast that he won't buy entrance emotes because they slow him down.
I have them, and I'm like, I need to turn this off because it makes me stand there for 5 extra seconds, and it's super frustrating. I should be able to stop that animation and go, because I'm like, crap, my team's leaving me. I gotta go.
So they're
stretching my legs.
Fixing many of the infinite loading screens. I haven't actually had a loading screen.
Have
you guys?
One.
You've had one, Steve? Have you had any?
Before the patch.
Yeah, I mean, I've had loading screens.
But like infinite loading screens. Come on, man.
Infinite.
Follow the dialogue. You're gonna left trigger me, aren't you?
I also haven't I didn't have seriously long loading times. Like I have my game installed on M.2 drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't had like super.
You gotta have it. You gotta have it on M.2, guys. So when you're out there, put that game on M.2 so that you can do it better.
Well, if you're serious about PC gaming, you're gonna have an M.2 drive for your main game. It's just commonplace.
I don't know what you guys are doing. I have an M.97. That's how good
Mike doesn't even know what an M.2 drive is.
But he has one.
He's got one.
A number of issues
installed
have
on
been
it.
fixed
He just doesn't
that
know
were
what
causing players to disconnect or crash, which is good. And weapons and gear now have numbers present for modifiers. So that's good. You want to see that number increase. You want to see the number tied to your gear. so that when you have your Excel spreadsheet out there, isn't that what? Who said that on the stream yesterday? Was it Chad? He's like, just get an Excel sheet out and just do it up. So
they're working on
fun.
it. I'm excited about that when that comes out.
Yeah. So those are the high level fixes.
I can make you an Excel sheet.
No, when they have their own app stuff,
their own apps.
We're using one right now.
So
yeah. So one of the things that they said is going to happen also with general fixes. They said the loot reveal and expedition summary now will correctly play according to the end of the expedition screen. So you're going to see everything that you actually got. So I guess that's good.
I didn't realize was a bug. I assumed that everything that was there, I was like, oh, I got this, or I didn't get something. So.
Yeah, and it's really hard with these because some of these you've experienced, some of these you don't even know were bugs, just because it wasn't like something that really. Because
I didn't know what it was before. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah,
right. And like, I mean, if you want to go read over all these fixes, you can go do that on the website. There's a Reddit link we'll put in the show, so we're not going to read over everything. We'll hit some of the highlights. Like challenges now unlocked for players at the correct level. That's good. Loot now properly dropped for players who are down. This is one of the biggest things that just kind of sucked out all the fun out of it. Especially if you're like real low health and you see, you get downed by a Titan because their shots that they fire into the sky, you can't track them at all. Like sometimes you think you're a mile away from it and you automatically get hit by that. I don't know if that's like.
And you turn around and you just explode and you're like, what happened?
It sucked, but it also made it really intense because it's like, oh crap! All right, I gotta survive. I need to survive.
Yeah, and then you're like, Devon, don't shoot him yet. Oh, Devon shot him.
I'm like, what? Oh, I got this. Don't worry.
Right, and then also another fix is final boss of Stronghold to now drop loot instead of only being shown at the end of expedition screen, which is awesome because not seeing those things drop from a boss is super lackluster. When you like down them and you're like, all right, and now we're done, so let's get out of here.
Well, and that makes you really feel like that there's a bug. You're like, what happened?
Why is there no loot dropping? There's loot dropping from everything else. Why is there none from the boss?
Yeah. Exactly.
It works great now, though. I can tell you for sure.
It does. So I'll talk about the Swarm Tyrant because I don't want to spoil the other two strongholds, but I think this needs to be changed. Instead of just two little things popping out of this giant spider, it would be much cooler if there's like some sort of animation where a bunch of rangers that have been like webbed up into cocoons
rangers
fall from the sky.
Because they're the dead ones everywhere all the time.
Right. So if
rangers aren't very good.
Yeah. So if you have rangers like drop from that, and then you can go loot the rangers. Like, hey, rangers came in here, they had this cool gear, and they died. That's much cooler than just things popping out of this giant bug, because that doesn't make sense either. I know it's like a tiny little thing, but it's
so just so I'm following. You're saying have rangers drop out that you have to go in and interact with, or javelins? We'll just javelins pop out that you have to go interact with to get your loot.
Yeah, just like a treasure chest.
It's kind of
but it would be like javelin parts. That like fall out of it because it's decayed javelin pieces.
So I'm saying like where the Swarm Tyrant comes out of, that little circle that it's hanging out in, like a giant spider. Just when you beat it, have like
rain loot.
Yeah, have it rain loot from there, or javelins hang down by webs like you've seen in the game, and then you can go loot those things, and then that's where you get your items from. I mean, it's a tiny little change.
That could be fun.
I mean, it just makes it different. So, one of the other big things that they fixed, which was a huge bug if you're doing a stronghold, if a player has an echo and then they leave, that echo would be gone forever, and you just have to restart
in the demo.
Yeah. So now they fix that. Also, the start of expedition screen has been improved.
I think greatly. I think everyone that I've played with has said it's so much cleaner, so much faster. They kind of know where they're going. It's faster to navigate through, so that's been the actual in-game quick response that I've had from people, is that it's so much fun.
Yeah. Also, this is the important one. Scar snipers can no longer shoot through storm shields. Which, man, I don't think a lot of people, if you don't play the storm, you don't really know how to play the storm. You're in the air all the time, or else you just die. But if you're going up against all these Scar snipers, you just die anyway because your shield does nothing. Like your wind wall does nothing. You feel like you have a wind wall.
Which again is being fixed. That tweet came out, that and the bulwark point for the ranger. Important to note that those are being reworked.
And now you can also access the vault from the forge, which is good. And then Halleck is no longer dual-wielding canes in the epilogue scene. Like, I don't remember him dual-wielding canes, but I guess that was a thing, so he's no longer doing that. So
that wasn't a bug for me, so
Phaedron says in the chat, I have to dodge the Scar snipers just like the rest of us. You know what? If I have a shield, a shield,
I have to dodge it just the same.
I should at least be able to tank one, all right?
One, right?
Just take one.
Well,
at least
when
one
on a
shot.
Grandmaster 2, you're not taking one. I can tell you that.
Grandmaster 1, they just put their sight on you, and that laser itself just burns your face off.
Yeah. All right. So then, talking about strongholds, nah, we don't need to talk about that stuff. A lot of this stuff, like Temple of Scar, players can no longer get stuck in the mine tunnels in the explosive room. That's kind of fun. You get stuck in there.
That happened to me once.
Spoiler alert.
Well, they showed the Temple of Scar room during one of their streams, so that's the room they were talking about. I'm not going to spoil the whole end boss on that thing. So
that's pretty fun stronghold. I enjoyed several of the encounters.
I
don't like Heart of Rage. Stronghold went up by myself.
Devon.
But we're not going to talk about Heart of Rage.
You forgot to push your mute button.
There's nothing spoiler about that.
There's a lot of crafting issues that they've changed. There's a lot of combos and status effects, like a lot of the javelins. The Colossus can now activate its shield more quickly, and it can actually activate its shield while it's picking someone up from being downed, which is awesome. Instead of just like sitting there not doing anything, it's like you can actually put that shield up, which should help.
It works great when I'm being rezzed by a Colossus.
It's true. But
lots of number tweaks. Things are going higher. The game is being leveled and balanced, which is good. And so,
one of the things that I like, the squad screen now actually displays the correct information for each player. Because before you guys were like at 143 for the longest time. It would change
randomly what our levels were.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So camera shake slider has been added to the game, so you can turn that all the way off. Like, especially, I'm guessing if you're an Interceptor or Colossus and you're in there all the time, and all of a sudden a storm decides to drop an ultimate right on top of the enemy you're fighting, you probably want to turn that shake thing all the way down. So.
It's all the way up. Mine.
Nice.
You just have it all the way up, and it feels like you're in an earthquake.
Devin just has a bucket next to his PC.
Well, you're like, how do you see in there? Guys. It's like, I don't. I'm just pulling the trigger and I'm going. There's no enemy here. Why am I still swinging? All right, let me find it again.
All right, and there's so many more changes that are in the patch notes. Go read them. If not, I mean, just play the game tomorrow. And if you don't even notice the patch notes, then I guess they're doing their job because all that stuff is fixed.
Right.
So let's talk about the stream that we had. We had a stream with 4 of the devs. We had Mark Dara, we had Mike Gamble, we had Ben Irving, and we had Chad. Is it Chad Robinson? I don't know Chad's last name, but
I think it's Robertson.
I'm glad they had Chad back, give him a chance to actually play the game without stealing the controller for him. And,
although I think near the end he did not have the controller in his hands.
No, they were trading off a bunch. So one thing I want to say about these streams is BioWare, stop playing the game if you are giving us information. Like, I get it.
Video in the background or something?
Have video in the background, have 4 other people playing, but if you're going to sit down and talk, just talk to us. Like, don't be distracted by what you're doing, like resin people. Like I get that you want to show the game, but we've seen it enough times. Just put the controllers down. Give us the information you want to give us. I mean, it's hard to play and talk at the same time if that's not something that you're used to. So just talk to us. That's fine. We don't need to see that gameplay. We've seen it. Right? I mean, am I alone on this, or do you guys agree it's like it's fine if they're playing the game and they're
I think it would be fine if they were playing, if they could multitask and do it at the same time. But I think it was Mike. He would be in the middle of a thing and then just stop and like, hey, make sure you do this, and this. Did we answer that question? And I think Ben's like, no, I don't think we've even asked it yet. And so it was the dialogue back and forth was a little hard to follow and a little bit annoying on this last one, just because I enjoyed it. I know you did, but I wanted my information. I was watching it during work when I wasn't supposed to, and so I kind of needed the information quick, and so that was probably my problem.
You came in expecting the wrong thing.
Exactly. But it's. So I will say this though, it's fun that they get together and they get to play. It would be fun just to be in their party chat on a night where they're just doing a stronghold, just to listen to them go back and forth with each other. Like that would be a stream that I'd want to listen to and want to watch. But when you're giving information, give the information. Because some of the stuff that they probably could have spent more time on giving us information wasn't a whole. There wasn't a lot of time spent on it, and and then the whole asking questions part, trying to get Jesse to ask the questions and hearing the questions and answering the questions. It could be tightened up, I guess, is all I'm saying. And so that would have been
they're only on episode better. 5, so they got
five of theirs. They've got, and we have our own growing pains, and so I totally know that this is the pot calling the kettle, and I have no bearing or whatever to say it. I mean, just my notes.
It's constructive feedback. Like, you know what? If you're gonna ask the question, we need to be able to hear the question, or because we don't know what you're answering. If we can't hear it, or if we just hear it off stream. I mean, Mark Dare was super funny. The guy was out there, and I felt like that dude is like so ready to be done with Anthem that he's like, whatever, just tell him everything. I don't care. Making fun of Mike Gamble. As Mike's like, yeah, we increased loading times. Like, no, you didn't increase loading times. We don't want increased loading times. So, I mean, It's a good stream, but just give us their information. Like, we're going to play the game soon. We're not there to watch you play the game. We wanted to learn about a lot of the new stuff, like Stronghold cosmetic boxes that they're going to be adding into the game. So we complete a daily mission for a key, and then we get a box at the end of a stronghold that we can open up for each person.
It's not at the end, right? Was it at the end, or I thought it was you had to find them in there?
No, it's at the end of the stronghold. So if you get to the end,
confirmed?
Yeah, they said it was after you beat the boss at the end of the stronghold.
Okay.
So you get a box at the end of stronghold. For each person that has a key in your party, you can open the chest that many times. So you will get 4 items from that chest if everyone has a key. And you can get a key once a day, and you can go open that and essentially get 4 items from that box. Now, I guess, thinking about it, if you were to go in to just randomly join a bunch of people's games in strongholds, you should probably be able to get into every box if someone on the other team has a key. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like some sort of lock where you can't open the chest.
I thought you can only do it once. You can only get it once.
Maybe you can get the key one time, but for everyone that's in that stronghold that has a key, you'll get the items when they open it up.
Well, but you say being able to jump in.
You can't do quick. Well, you have to do.
Yeah, you can't do quick play strongholds for now.
You can matchmake randomly with someone.
Well, but how
has
often?
A key every time.
But how often?
How often will someone have a key going into a stronghold? I'm guessing probably 74% of the time.
74% of the time?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be a lot, because then you can just keep, doing strongholds over and over again, hoping that someone has a key, and then you can get that item from that box. So, and that's what they said. So if everyone has a key, you can open it that many times. So I'm guessing you're going to be able to get it really quick. So does that mean you're just going to be able to burn through these 100 items that fast? They said that there's going to be cosmetics. They said that there's going to be embers, there's going to be weapons, but you will not get duplicates. So once you get all 100 items from that box, I'm guessing it's either going to be time for them to roll over to a new set with the new expansion, or you just stop getting items from that box until you go somewhere else.
I think you're overthinking this a little bit. I just think you're overthinking it.
How so?
I mean, does it matter how fast you get them?
No, it doesn't matter to me. I'm trying to min-max already on how fast you can get all these items, right?
So
I think for me it's just going too fast.
Like, do a stronghold, a stronghold playlist, and you're just going to do stronghold after stronghold after stronghold. At some point, you're going to be matched with a team that is either doing the same thing or doesn't have a key.
Correct. And I think that's going to be part of like the communication at the beginning of the match. Hey, does anyone have a key? No. All right, back out, go to another one. Or, just wait. I mean, it's going to happen. That's what we do. We find the quickest way to get the most amount of things for our time investment. I mean, that's why people are going through doing the treasure chest runs, trying to get, all the high level gear with doing as little as possible. That's what's going to happen. So I'm not going to be surprised if you get nerfed to where you can only open it like once a day. That's what I'm saying. All right, moving on. Legendary crit missions. We have been asking if we can replay missions from the story. And they said that what they're going to try to do, they're going to implement a legendary critical path mission that they're going to put up, and it's going to be harder to do, and there's going to be some rewards tied to that. So that's what they want to try. And they said, if you have feedback, if you're not liking it, we'll change it. If you do like it, we'll keep going with it. So they're really being open about what they want to do, which is really good. So what do you guys think about the legendary crit missions? Would you rather just have a list that you can go back through and just play these missions over, or are you okay with the legendary critical missions?
I'm okay with the critical missions. From what I understand, they're going to be random, right? So you would load into a playlist.
Well, no,
So
it's not going to be random. They're going to, because they have to tailor those missions to level 30. They have to design them out. Like, they specifically will have, okay, this is your legendary crit mission. I don't know how many they'll have at one time that'll be available, but
right.
The way
they said they
talk
were
is
starting
like
with the
one at a
Arcanist,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm okay with it. I mean, it's something else to play other than free play and contracts and strongholds. And it is going to be fun to go back and do that stuff because, you know, there's things that you forget from when you played the story, you know, a long time ago when you were marathoning the game. I don't even remember half the things that we did that first day, but
I remember.
Day.
it was a long day. So it'll be fun to go back and play that stuff again. I'm looking forward to it. Again, it's another way to play. Not another way. It's another thing to do while you play. More challenges, and of course they're going to make it more challenging, which will be fun because now you're geared out for it. So it's good. I'm looking forward to the legendary critical missions as long as I get legendary plus gear from it.
Yeah, and JD, you'll be playing all those missions tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I stopped my 10-hour trial with like about less than 15 minutes left, according to the thing, I had just hit the tomb stuff, and I only had maybe 2 out of the 4 challenges left undone, and I think it was only maybe 1 or 2 things of each of those to finish up. So I'm not gonna lie, since this podcast is over, I'm gonna be going and finishing that up. So
we still have 3 more hours of talking here. All right. Next thing they talked about during the stream was text chat.
He's kidding.
So I thought it was funny when they were talking about text chat. Chad thought they were saying text Chad.
Text Chad.
So there's a lot of confusion.
No, that wasn't
the game
Chad.
weren't
That
focusing.
was name. Not Chad.
Mike Gamble.
Yeah, no.
Mark
Dara.
Jess. So they were talking about being able to implement this. So, and they were talking about the ping system. They were talking about accessibility and trying to put that in there. I know with Apex coming out and the ping system being like the new hotness, that everyone's like, hey, we need a ping system. We need this. We need a ping system. It feels like you can't just take a system like that from a different game and slap it into Anthem and expect it to work like within a week. That's like taking an engine from an Audi and trying to put it into a Corvette. It takes a lot of work. You know, those bolts don't just line up right out of the gate.
Yeah, well, and they already, you know, looked into it and talked to them, and it's not, like Ben said, it's not easy, you know, to just take it and put it into something else. They have something already in the works that's similar to that because they know they're having issues with the text chat and other things, so they want to be able to have give the players the ability to communicate some way, so they're working on a different type of system that will kind of take the place of that.
I think it's funny. The most obvious thing he said was, "Well, there isn't a button on the controller yet."
Yeah,
you know,
there's no button
for consoles,
left that you
like. There's no button, so obviously there's a thing there. I mean, with mouse and keyboard, I'm sure they could.
Yeah,
there's a lot of billions of stuff there, but like with consoles, there's not an extra button, so it definitely needs to be reworked.
Well, technically, they don't have anything on the up on the D-pad, right? So
your ultimate
is it?
You never you play this game?
Do you use your ultimate off the 7, or is that something that you haven't learned yet?
I'm always an ultimate. I don't know what's going on. Like, I guess I don't even realize it when I'm pushing it. It's just
like muscle memory at this point.
Just going in. I mean, 65 hours in, I'm just like,
I guess I'll push any button. All right.
Push all the buttons. Something happens.
I mean, that's something that they're working on. I'm glad they are. Hopefully it gets in soon because there's a lot of people that can't. No, it needs to be there. Text chat needs to be there. There's a lot of people that can't communicate otherwise. So it should be in there. I mean, we're not going to use it. We're not the
if they put it in there, as long as I can turn it off, that's fine.
Yeah. And you probably will be able to. I mean, you're able to in a lot of this stuff. All right. Enough about that. They talked about the roadmap that they're going to be releasing pretty soon. We'll be able to see 90 days out. That's going to be pretty exciting, so I'm excited for that.
Also,
same here.
It's going to be super detailed. Let's talk about our personal feedback that we had for the game. One thing I would like to see, when I die as a storm, when I'm floating and a Scar sniper shoots me, I would like to know where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know where that enemy is. I want to know exactly if, I need to know.
And what attack it was. Was it their main rifle? When I'm fighting a Titan, was it their seeker orb that got me? Or was it the ring of fire that got me? Like I want to know that stuff so you can plan for it for the next encounter, and so you can know that you died by something that was actually in the game and not by just random dying, which sometimes it feels like.
Oh, it's in the game. All right.
I don't know.
If it's in the game, it's in the game.
It's good. It's good.
I mean, it's in the game.
Because sometimes you'll just be floating and you just die and you have no idea why, and that sucks. It feels bad. They also talked about during the stream. They talked about when you are down, like being able to do something differently instead of not push any button and just rotate around yourself. So that's something that they're working on, and I think that's something that they need to
call
fix
out.
quickly.
Was that meaning like a spectate mode, or?
I think they should have a spectate mode. I think you should be able to ping that you are down. I think you should at least be able to go into your menu and
I think crawling
read a bunch of cortex entries.
Crawling around would be great.
Yeah, because like there were a couple times like I died in a really bad location. I was like maybe like just about like 10 feet from like really nice cover that would have made my revive a lot more
manageable.
appealing. Yeah.
Nope, sorry, you're down till we kill that guy.
It's like, no, man, you're out in the open. You're on your own, dude.
Which was also terrible because then you wouldn't get drops from enemies if you were down during that time. But that's all been fixed. But that's still going to go in the PC Gamer review. So,
idiots.
Any other feedback that you guys want to cover before I jump into my next one? Because I have a lot to say about the next one about inscriptions.
Yeah, so I would like back in the store, right? They have vinyls that you can buy. I would like if you could see them on your
mode.
Javelin before you buy them. Like, because I purchased the new one.
Hold on, Devon. This just in. Anthem is live right now. So if you're listening to us, I mean, go play the game. You can listen to us later.
Right, he's like, I'm out of here, bro. But yeah, so I would like a preview system because like I purchased, at least on the Interceptor, all it does is put something on the helmet and then on each shoulder, and that's it. And I was like, well, okay, it's $1.50, but I mean, there should be more than that. Just, a sticker on your head and on both shoulders. It's like, well, that's not cool.
Yeah, some of the decals are not created equal. Some of them are very tiny, and then some cover the entire Javelin. But then picking back off your idea about the cosmetic store, sorry, like the ratio from coins to shards is not equal across all the items.
Coin, that's a lot of coin to buy.
Right. So if you're going to purchase like a decal, it's like 40 shards per coin. But if you're going to purchase an armor set, it's like 0.008 shards per coin. So there's kind of like a huge range of, and even between the different rarities, like those prices are different. Like a rare decal and a rare animation don't cost the same, which is, I mean, that's something that would, who knows why it is like that. But anyway, sorry, I derailed you, Devon. Just something I was thinking about.
Yeah. Let's see. I lost my train of thought, but let's see what else. I don't really know. I mean, I want, it's been mentioned before. So when you're in a group of players, you can ready up from anywhere in the fort. As the party lead, you can ready up anywhere, but you can't do that when you're solo. So that needs to change where you can do that when you're solo, because there's times where it's like, okay, I need to go talk to this person who's at the very back of the fort. And okay, I went and talked to them and had a great conversation sometimes with people. And now it's like, all right, now I just need to run all the way back to my Javelin to get into my Javelin, instead of I could just ready up and get ported right to the menu like you can when you're playing with other people. So that's something that I'm sure they'll fix eventually.
I'd like an option to go back to the expedition screen right after collecting rewards from a previous expedition. So right now you have the choices of going to that
forge.
There was one area. So there's the forge, the fort, and then there's another area.
Launch
I
bay.
don't think. Oh, that's what it's called.
The place I've only been when I've got taken in there by game.
When you push the wrong button.
No, I didn't even go in there myself by choice. It was like I'm playing with other people, and people listening will find out. So I don't want to spoil.
Yeah. So I think there needs to be a go to expedition screen, because sometimes you go through an expedition, you don't get any gear from it that you need to go to the forge to equip, and you just want to jump right back in. Craft your consumables and then go. Yeah. So I think that would be important.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of what Devon said, like I hadn't even thought of that until you brought it up, like being able to just like ready up, like, and then just instantly join the mission that's going on. Like they have similar things in other games. Like I think Grand Theft Auto 5 Online has the on-call mode, where basically you're matchmaking, but you don't actually join until the game starts. And so you see like a little screen, like you see your cell phone in the bottom corner of your screen, and it has like your little pregame lobby going on there, but you're not instanced into the next game until that game starts launching, or it's at a point where it will launch. Like, I think it even has like a countdown for how long it's been running. So
it's the final countdown.
I mean, there's lots of little things they could change. You know, they're working on a lot of stuff. I don't have any real big issues with the game and what's going on. We did have was it last night when we were playing, Mike, when the loot went through the wall?
Yeah.
I don't know if we actually got it in the end when we were doing a stronghold. No, it wasn't a stronghold. It was just
it was free play, and we were underwater. We opened a chest, and it popped out, and it just like went through the rocks, and we couldn't get it.
We're like, what?
Yeah, fortunately, my stuff was only white and green. I was able to see that before they went out. Oh, nice.
2 epic items.
Nice, 2 epic items.
I was like,
but yeah, I don't remember on the...
Because it was underneath the Strider, and it went through the Strider's leg, and then just disappeared.
It was funny.
But yeah, no,
we were like, what happened?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the store. That's one of the biggest things that'll really help out in the everybody's view. They should really have a preview for all the options in that store.
Absolutely.
So you can see it on the javelins and be like, oh yeah, I really like the way this this cloth looks, or whatever, or this wood texture that they're going to put in eventually, because I know you will, because you love us, BioWare.
I don't know,
maybe. I mean, how many shards do I need to buy? I mean, I've bought like a bit. All right,
a bunch.
Maybe 2
all the shards
of the 4,600.
All right, just tell me what dish you need me to make, BioWare, and I will do it. To get the wooden javelin out there.
Get the wooden.
So what do we gotta do?
I will tell you guys. I'll tell you guys what the real answer is on things that need to be fixed. Since you guys didn't get the real answer, the inscription system is not very good right now. The affixes, the way they're worded, things like clip, magazine, repair plus 18% drop rate. It's not clear at all. For someone that's like played a lot of looter shooters, like especially like playing games like Diablo 3, Borderlands, like these affixes on the items, you need to be able to read them and know exactly what they do without having to go look up somewhere on the internet and figure out what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like when you talk about physical damage, what does that mean in this game? Does it mean weapons? Does it mean melee? Does the storm have a physical melee because it shoots fire out of it, or is that elemental? Like these are the things that your inscriptions, the end game is built on the inscriptions. And if that is not clear to what they do, then it's like, I don't even know what the stats are of my base javelin. Like, what is my repair percent? Like, how quick does repair drop rate even mean?
They're working on that, right?
Globes?
That's what they talked about. Chad talked about that instead of using Excel.
Nice.
Because it's not good right now, and I hate to say that because someone probably put a lot of work into this, but you can tell that there's either a character limit on these inscriptions, because some of them will say rife, and that's supposed to be like assault rifle, and trying to decipher all these things to know exactly what your gear piece is doing. Like I was going through and I was trying to increase the shields on my storm, and I was like, okay, first of all, when you open up the components, you have to click on the 6 of them. I really need to be able to see
Individually,
what's
yeah.
in my. I need to see what's in my inventory to know which one I'm going to change out first. So I need to see where I'm going to go, because if you click on that thing, you're like, okay, I have, and you've got elemental like status, elemental bonus, elemental, all these things with the same first name, and you're like, okay, which one is this? And then it's just not a clean system, and it's not an easy system to navigate to equip everything that you want. I mean, I'm sure if you spent like 60 or 59 hours in the game like Mike, you're like, okay, you just go in and you fix that really quick. But when you're trying to actually build something that,
No, it's still
for my
confusing.
lightning build, it's
is pretty
super confusing. I don't know what my base stats are, so I don't know what is actually changing. I don't know what my, DPS is overall.
Yeah.
I can see when I change this one gear piece if the bar is red or the bar is green, but overall, I don't know exactly what is going on.
What that
I
means.
need to be able to
Yeah.
see what those things are at a sheet.
Like I got two
Yeah,
more
I mean,
Masterworks this afternoon. I replaced them with took out the epic items that I was using. Then I went and played a stronghold, and I was like, wow, like my sniper is not as good anymore, and it sucks. And I was doing like I could crit 150,000 damage on the Storm Tyrant when I have my marked target on there from the Interceptor and another status effect on there, and I was just tearing them up, and then I put these Masterworks on there that raised my level up, higher, but the end result wasn't very good for my build, and so I was like, well, I need to go back in and put those epics back in because they're much better for playing, even though it lowers my level. I there wasn't an easy way to see that, and there was confusing where it's like, okay, plus it gives you plus 35% to your shield and negative 35 to your armor, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Right.
Is
And
that
you're like,
good?
why would I ever?
Bad? Or does that mean like it also adds to the armor? Or I mean, I don't know if that's. I mean, they've talked about how there's a reason why the text is the way it is. Like I'm sure it has something to do with the way it's programmed, but that system needs to be fixed, like you're saying.
Right. You can't leave it.
How can you like min-max a build if you don't really have any base numbers to work with?
Yeah, you don't know what
that
it is.
Seems like just a fundamental problem.
Yeah. So that needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed soon. Thus saith the Steve. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, because we're going kind of long, and we can move a lot of the stuff to next episode. Flight time. How do you guys feel about the flight time? Is it something that needs to be adjusted? Is it fine?
It needs to be a little bit longer.
Do you think we should be able to fly indefinitely? Because a part of me says that I want to, unless you're in combat.
Maybe maybe the storm can. Maybe the storm can fly indefinitely because of its seals and its lore and that stuff. But no, I don't think so. I think the base flight time for everything needs to be increased, and then you do get. I mean, you have components that can.
Yeah, there's definitely components that boost it.
That boost it, but I think for base flight time it needs to be more.
I feel like they could have a system where, like, if you're out of combat, like you're not actively engaged with any enemies, that it could be longer, and that once you enter into combat, it starts filling up faster. I don't think it needs to be indefinite at any point in time. But the whole thing is I mentioned it in like my little part of the show notes here, so I wouldn't forget. Sometimes you get unlucky with the route that you're taking when you're getting from point A to point B, and you either like end up on a path that doesn't have a lot of room for diving down and like cooling yourself off, or skimming the water, or any waterfalls. There's sometimes you just get really unlucky with the path that you took and the opportunity to cool your jets, and you'll end up just overheating and like crashing, or having to stop manually and wait for them to cool down. I mean, mind you can still sprint, but it's really fun to fly. Like, why not more of that?
It's the best part of the game, in my opinion. The flight and the transversal is the best part, and having to land it, like you said, if you don't land near water, then you're just kind of back on the ground and you're jumping up, and it doesn't help that tethering thing was there in the beginning, and it made it feel like it was even worse than it actually is. So
that might have a lot to do with it. Well,
and that could be different.
And then the flight ceiling.
Yeah, I think that needs to be raised. Raise the roof. Raise the ceiling.
Well,
the roof
or
is
make
on fire.
Or make it consistent. I was flying over a place, where I was well above. Let's see, was I well above? No, I was at a pretty decent height above where I was, and then there was a going into a valley, and it shot me down to try to keep that same kind of level throughout. But just, I mean, your flight shielding should be your atmosphere, right? If that's how we're making it work, and it should be the same. So if I'm in a low area, I have a really high flight ceiling. If I'm in a higher area, my flight ceiling isn't that high because it's just consistent all the way around the world. So, I mean, again, these are little things that I would like to see, but
Let's flip a switch.
but it'll never happen.
That's pretty much all you have to do.
Because
Well-
I'm small potatoes.
Well, I think, freelancers, that we are going to end it here because we've been talking quite a bit. There's a couple other things we wanted to cover. The comic released yesterday. It's short. It's kind of a prequel to one of the characters that you will meet in the game. I guess go read it if you want. I wasn't super excited about it, kind of underwhelmed, but that's just me. Maybe you'll have a different experience with it. I don't know if any of you three were able to read the comic also.
No, I did
Nope,
not.
I'm
get
waiting
to chance
until
to
all
read
three
it.
of them come out together. So.
So you're going to wait till
Same.
August?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I've been playing
Well,
in the game, so
I understand. Well, freelancers, until next time, this has been episode 74 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Until next time, there's a Shaper Storm on the horizon, and we'll see you on the other side? Question mark?
we'll see you through the storm.
To the storm.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Freelancer Codex, on Facebook at Freelancer Codex. Email. Join the Discord through the link provided at freelancercodex.com. Our show will always be free, but if you'd like to send some support, you may do so at patreon.com/freelancercodex. Our individual Twitter handles are at Stian Lamson, at mlamson25, at Neverfear, and at JD. Freelancers, it's time to get to work.
Oof.